If you've ever seen the hero's journey, you'll understand that this is ingrained in us as human beings. And so a great book on this is Story Brand by Donald Miller. And he talks about this process, that the best brands are the story brands. They leverage a certain type of story, which is based on the hero's journey. This is a point of difference that I want you to understand, because this is where you're going to unlock a lot of growth online. This is what's going to set you apart from the big influencer accounts and actually be able to monetize yourself a lot sooner with a smaller audience. I want you to imagine yourself in this story. I want you to think to yourself, where do you fit into this and where does your client fit into this? And so the process that he takes people through in Story Brand is understanding that in every single story and every single journey, there is a character, and that character has a problem. In order for that character to overcome that problem, they need someone to help them. They need a guide. If you look at the Lord of the Rings, for example, Frodo had a problem. He had this ring and he had this journey that he had to go on, but he did not know if he could do it. He didn't believe in himself. Frodo needed the support of someone, a guide who could actually help him and advise him and tell him what to do. All right, and then enter in Gandalf. Gandalf rode into the Shire on the back of his horse and carriage and took Frodo on this journey. He gave him the call to action, okay? And so Gandalf was the guide that Frodo met, all right? And so Gandalf then gave Frodo a plan. He was like, you have to take the ring to the depths of Mordor and throw the ring into the flippin' burning fires of the flame. All right, and so that was the plan. Off they went on this huge hero's journey with many challenges, ups and downs, but the guide was with them all the way. Frodo made it there across like an amazing trilogy of films, but eventually got to the result, all right? And so he became this hero in the process, all right? Frodo was the hero of that story. Gandalf was the guide who guided him through. This is very important to understand, because the key here is, who are you? Are you Gandalf or are you Frodo? I would argue that business A, the influencer business, they thought they were Frodo. They were talking about themselves all the time, their journey, their ups and downs, their challenges. Where actually the business that had more growth and the business that had more success was the one who positioned themselves as Gandalf. They were the guide helping Frodo along the journey. The hero, Frodo, aka the hero of the story, was their client. Their client was the one going through the ups and downs, because at the end of the day, that is what it is. All right, your client only cares about how they can get to their result. All right, and they are the ones who have to walk through the valley of the fire of death. And so if you feed this story brand concept into the soul of your brand's essence will start to become this trustworthy feeling for people. They will see you as the guide to their biggest problems. People will want to work with you. They will say, I don't want to go on this journey by myself. I will die. I'll be eaten by an orc. All right, I'll fall off the side of the cliff if I don't work with this guide. The stories you tell, the way you position your brand, the way you write your copy, the way you put your websites together, the way you write your content has to be from that perspective. And if it isn't, you will alienate people. This really is the key to motivating people to take actions on your offer rather than just kicking the can down the road. Because I'm sure you've had this on a sales call before, where people say, oh, I'm not ready. I want to join in a month's time. I want to join next year. Now's not the right time for me. The problem is that they just don't see you as the source, the shortcut to where they want to go. They probably don't feel like they're in enough pain, in which case you haven't shown them the dangers that lie ahead if they don't decide to work with you. All right, because that is really the key to sales. You know what lies ahead for them. They don't. If you want to motivate someone to take action with you, you show them the map. You're like, hey, this is what lies ahead. If you don't take action on this, if you don't work with someone who knows what they're doing, this is what your life's going to look like. That's a motivating factor. If someone told me that, I'm going to be inclined to work with someone who has the roadmap that can help me navigate through this. All right, so it's very, very important that you change your behavior today to make this apply to your brand so you can start growing your brand's revenues. Just get a notepad out and write these things down. Make sure you understand it. The first thing I want you to understand is that your client, the hero of the story, is only interested in one thing. What benefits are in this thing for me? All right, people's time and attention today is limited, and their brains are constantly trying to answer this question to avoid wasting time on things that are not relevant for them. When someone sees your post, it needs to call out to them. It needs to be about their needs and their benefits. Otherwise, they're simply going to scroll away. Most influencer accounts like Business Aid are simply bigging themselves up. They're talking about themselves. It's me. It's I did this. I created that. Where in actual fact, they should switch that and start talking to you, the hero. All right. The way we actually put a label on this is that those influencer accounts who are doing that are being completely me-centric, which means they are at the center of their universe. They are the hero of their own brand. And now for a second, if we can understand that your client and your prospect is also completely me-centric to themselves, they're only thinking about what benefits are in this thing for me. They aren't marketing, they aren't putting products out there. All they care about is how can I get out of the pain that I'm in as quickly as possible. So they are also completely me-centric. And so if both the creator and the consumer are me-centric, attraction becomes impossible. Think about it. How could attraction be possible? If you look at two negative ions, they naturally repel each other. And so if you are me-centric and your client is me-centric, attraction is not possible. It's completely impossible. Now, the next time you're on social media, think about it. When you see someone posting a piece of content, you just scroll away from it. Most of the time, that person is not speaking to your benefits. They're speaking about their me-centricity. When you're on social media and you see something that draws you in and grabs your attention, most of the time, that content is focusing on the value and they're speaking to your needs, which creates this beautiful attraction. So try and look out for that next time. The key then is to switch your marketing focus away from being about you to being completely them-centric to your viewer, which means you understand that your client is completely me-centric, so you want to be completely them-centric. So that way we create this beautiful positive and negative effect where attraction becomes inevitable. But how do we do that? Good question. It starts by leading with the value you have to offer your customers. This begins by understanding the problems they are struggling with and tailor-making your content to speak to these issues and offering the solutions out of them. That is where value is created. Understanding that people are motivated to move out of pain and towards pleasure. If you can position yourself as the solution to their problems, then you are creating value. That is when people say, post something high value. That is the definition of it, all right? It is your ability to communicate to someone how to get them out of the pain they're in and towards the desired outcome that they want, because they are only interested in what benefits are in it for them. They don't care about you speaking about yourself and bigging yourself up as much as most influencers do. So if you can start to understand exactly what problems your clients are facing, and you can begin creating content and ideas that help them out of pain, speaking to their own me-centricity by leading with the value you have to offer, which is essentially the benefits they want to experience. Now, when you do this, something really cool happens. This is where the magic lies in marketing and advertising and branding. You begin to create this beautiful attraction of your dream clients into your orbit because they become attracted to the value that you have to offer because you're speaking to their needs. They feel like you've torn a page out of their diary and you're reading it back to them. You know how they feel. All right, that is so important in creating trust in today's world. You need to demonstrate to them that you understand their problems to some degree even more than they do. And then you need to demonstrate that you have the solution to those problems. And so our two negative repelling ions become a positive and a negative, and they start attracting each other naturally and effortlessly. And so your brand now is all about your client and what's in it for them. Value is now being created and your brand is going to start growing faster than you could ever have imagined. This is what all the best Brave Brand clients have done. And anyone who's exploded on social media, exploded their revenues, they have done exactly this process. They've switched to be completely focused on what benefits are in it for their clients and their customers.